Welcome to the District of Columbia, the nation's capital, the federal city. Let's go to the parts unknown in the city, where they all come in the end. That's right, your governors, politicians, presidents, senators, mayors, and even some of your celebrities. It all goes down in the dirt here at Congressional Cemetery. Welcome to my neighborhood. Let me show you where it all ends. Hello to you, and I mean hello. What's up, Lady Moët Beast, the beast from Southeast, the Gutta Godmother at DC hip hop and rap. I am live and direct, your mother over everything, best at storytelling. Today we are at Congressional Cemetery. That's right, all your crooks, all your willers and dealers, your lawmakers and breakers, your heel hogs, they all right here, and they family members. And I got a few family members in here too. Considering, my family is 5 blocks away. We right here on Capitol Hill. I'm going to give y'all the spill the best way I know how. I'm going to keep it real. I ain't going to hold no punches. I ain't going to do a lot of script reading and shit. I'm just going to tell you the scoop from straight out this motherfucking dirt right here. So, welcome to my series, The Graves of Congress. And let's go. We're going to start this off with our first story. We might as well talk about one of those first ladies, and I ain't talking about no president's wife. I ain't talking about hookers row. I ain't talking about the hoes, but I'm talking about one with a heart of gold. And her name was Mary Ann Hall. Let's get started. Darling, I'm here today at Congressional Cemetery. I'm Lady Moët Beast, the beast from Southeast. Some call me Mama Mo. And I'm here to give you some history about the real B&Bs, not Airbnbs, the real B&Bs, body houses and brothels. That's right. And we're going to start with the number one lady right here, the madam on the mall, Miss Mary Ann Hall. The reason why I chose Congressional Cemetery is because it's right here in the nation's capital. It's in Southeast Washington, D.C., where I'm from. And yeah, a lot of people don't know about the stories in this cemetery. So let me tell you about Mary Ann Hall. An ode to Mary Ann Hall. Yep, that's how we starting this off. It's taken me a few months to gather the info on this madam in the mall. I had to find out if there was short tales at all. Who was this Madam Mary Ann Hall? Was she the city's secret red light district queen? One of the first landowners and entrepreneurs on the scene? Member of the District's 500? Yeah, the District's 500 body houses and brothels, that is. Seems to me that coochie was the number one biz. And Madam Mary got it how she lived. The sweetest of the sweet. She had tricks and treats in a 4-story brick house, the biggest and the first on the block, on Lot 12, Reservation C. The census had listed the pros as substitutes on paper, lobbyists with legs, all pulling sex capers. Prostitution was legalized for the 5,000 plus sex workers in the district of the federal city. So she hosted high-end congressional men, 14 presidents, men, acquaintances, lobbyists, police, high-ranking military and political figures, goosing to get to Murray's house for them interracial pretties. Yep, the first interracial business was bottles and butt cheeks, sneaky links at the bottom of Capitol Hill. ladies would do business, even on Capitol grounds, as the ladies sat in waiting private chamber rooms for their master's break for a pound town for goodwill. She had 25 rooms and 18 inmates, and for a handsome fee, they might give you a date. Yeah, this little lady, little hoe, in her 20s, home owner by 30s, slave owner of 4, filed for restitution when Lincoln said she couldn't keep them no more. She got $900 per release. Was she scamming the feds? Because on the census records, plus 4 substitutes is what it sure read. Some white women, 1 free colored woman, all chicks under 30, kept Mary's little hoe house busy for those down to get dirty. Let's not forget the nameless man, color, and what was his relation. Was he her dude or business partner? Because they have no explanation. Let's not forget the elder mulatto woman with no name understood, and I'm still trying to figure out her claim. Not a picture survives, just the things she acquired. And after 40 years in business, the lady retired and passed the torch to Sis Lizzie. Her house was tier 1 of the bodies, top 10 of the brothels. The Congressman's whorehouse is what it was called most often. Sitting on the island, Maryland, Maine, 4th and a half and 3rd Street Southwest, 3 blocks from the Capitol steps. A canal and a train station. Man, this was easy access. Murray had properties, also in Alexandria County, a farmhouse, stores, a summer retreat, and summer home on 92 acres of property. What once was that bounded Chainbridge Road, which is now the Washington Golf and Country Club and Marymount University. 1 mile up ahead was her brother Basil's spot. They called him notorious, and modest he was not. He was also a slave owner. He had his own peeps, and they said, you ain't want no part of Basil in these streets. His farm also large, and many properties he owned, but his farmhouse today, part of Arlington Hospital and North Glebe Road. Mary died in a district just as she was born. Although no birth year recorded, they was like 18, 15, 16, 17, question mark. They presumed she died in 1886, and a family feud then ensued. See, Murray was a rich bitch, and her property, bonds, and assets hit $80,000 back then. A cool $2 million in today's time. Had all her siblings, including the brothers' wives, yelling, "Man, man, man!" And at the end of the day, no property was split. Not the pretty oil paintings, plush red furniture. Ain't nobody get shit. It was all sold in 2 courts, Alexandria and a district. Over 100 acres, 80 auctioned to be sold, then resold, all because a family was unwilling to share the gold. The funds were split between the 4, and Murray's property was no more. By 1930, Louise Alley was gone, and Mary's house on the island was raised for a national grassy-ass mall. They raised every damn house, 14 blocks of properties, so the monument could have a walkway from the Capitol scene. Raised to grass for damn near a whole century to be made a Native American museum for some sponsors who claim to be Indian chiefs. That was the best kept secret on Capitol Hill till the archaeological dig in 1994 and 97 came to pass. We wouldn't know this spill. Scratching the surface and found the framing where they had all of the shindigs. They took dumpster diving to a whole new level, finding old bones of expensive animal fruits and berries, local champagne bottle corks, imported perfume bottles, corset fasteners, brushes, and ladies' trash was a clear sign of a brothel house of the wealthy, for the wealthy. Thomas, Richard, and Harold. But little Mary had court cases and fines found guilty of her craft between them thighs, and some of her soiled doves had fights, drunken nights, and morose marshals on their asses. But one thing you couldn't say about Murray's girls was that they didn't have class. But in the end, there is one thing for sure. Marianne Hall was one hell of a city's first entrepreneurs, with a house full of whores, and coochie was the cure. Hosted by the Madam on the Mall. The Congressman's whorehouse, though? What the fuck? Like, how you gonna call it the Congressman's whorehouse? And then they somehow they was trying to raid the joint. They go in the joint, and it's police already in the joint. Like, you gonna lock their ass up too? You know they ain't locked the police up. They was in there with their sneaky links too. That's why she ain't really have a lot of complaints and shit. Cause everybody was on inner workings. Everybody throughout the whole joint. She had everybody on lock. Hell, even the people that bought her house after they sold it or auctioned it off, whatever you want to call it, it still was the Surgeon General. The Surgeon General bought her farmhouse and then sold it. Like her whole house turned into a, a clinic. And they said while she was alive, no, it turned into a clinic after they took the house and put it in trust and decided to give the siblings and their wives some money for it. It became a women's clinic for colored women. And then it became a colored school. So, you know, that is something else. This is one hell of a story. We ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, shit, hold on. Yeah, so it's nighttime in the city, right? The nation's capital and all that great shit. I'm about to give y'all some real DC history. Because right behind me is the Capitol, right? Now, what if I told y'all the Capitol had it so sweet that they could get pussy right down the street? Like, literally, right down the fucking street. We about to take y'all down there so y'all can see this shit. It's not what it was. But listen, I'm talking about you got the House of Representatives, Senate office, all that shit, the Library of Congress, fake-ass churches behind it, and Capitol Hill, motherfucker, right here. These motherfuckers was getting together and tra-la-la, they ass down Pennsylvania Avenue, Independence Avenue, getting their independence on. Freely frolicking in the body houses, okay? So we're going to take you to one place where they call her the Madam on the Hill, just so happens to be, I think we related because we share that last name, Hall. We're going to take you down here where Murray Hall was. And when I tell y'all, it's literally like right the fuck there. Oh, this bitch was making all the dollars. They be like, where them dollars at? Where them dollars? She was getting all them dollars, okay? We going to take y'all down there. Literally right there, though. You look. Men in suits. Bitches in boots. We going down there, all right? Let's go. Well, Marianne, or should I say Madam Hall of the Mall, or a.k.a. Dutch Mary, you had some snitching ass witnesses watching your stuff. I got a few accounts for y'all. You know, hot motherfuckers that wasn't part of the action. They wanted to tell on everybody else. Like the head, here you go. It starts with Officer James W. Guessford. He had seen hacks frequently in front of the house, from which he had seen males mostly get out. He had seldom seen females, all right? There was no attempt to explain how this was different than, say, at the Capitol. He also said that the front door had a ball and chain on it, so it could be opened about 6 inches that persons might be seen before being admitted. Again, no evidence of any wrongdoing. Charles Walton, who is introduced as a former justice of the peace, he had been to the house 3 times in the last year and a half and had on several occasions seen 8 to 10 women, including 2 that he had previously seen at the police station, and of whom he had heard that these 2 were prostitutes. Between 1850 and 1930, when the blocks were occupied, many Washington houses lacked running water. So, ew, that's nasty. Y'all was doing the most. It was open season and y'all had licenses and no running water. Yeah. How y'all was cleaning yourselves? Like, this is just, ew. This is, In D.C., we have not found any chef privies. She said, it is quite a mystery. Well, actually, guys, Mama Mo solved the mystery, and it was that they had night soil men coming in horse-drawn carriages, loading up barrels of shit to take to the farmers to use for fertilizers for fruits and vegetables. Double nasty. Now, they said that she made $2 million of today's money back in the 1800s selling coochie. So this is like really straight and to the point. This, I just caught a little clip from Alan Brown's blog spot, right? AlanBrownblogspot.com. Alan said, Marianne Hall ran the largest whorehouse in Washington, D.C. during the Civil War. This contemplative figure sits on top of Miss Hall's monument in the Congressional Cemetery. The Provost Marshal's office lists of body houses for 1864 to 65. Now, that's supposed to be during slavery, right? Okay. Listed 73 houses and an additional 12 colored body houses, along with their addresses, classes 1, 2, 3, and low, and the numbers of inmates. Yeah, inmates. That's what they call their residents. Inmates. Murray Halls at 349 Maryland Avenue, Island, was class 1 and had 18 inmates, more than any other house. The address at Maryland Avenue and 4th and a half Street was in a part of the city called the Island, which was bounded by Washington City Canal and the river. The alley behind Miss Hall's house had the colorful name of Louise Alley. Or Louise. That's my grandmother's middle name. My grandmother's name is Elva Louise Hall. This lady's name is Mary Ann Hall. This modified detail from Sanborn's 1888 fire insurance map of Washington shows Reservation C bounded by Main Avenue, Maryland Avenue, 4th and a half, and 3rd Street. 349 Maryland Avenue is in the lower left corner of this photo right here. You see that joint. It is not small. Yeah. Murray Hall's house is visible behind the Capitol on the mall in this 1852 lithograph view of Washington by E. Sash and Company. Do you see it? Do you see it? All right, we're going to zoom in right here. There's Lewis Alley. And this is Mary Ann Hall's house. Okay? You see it? Now, see it again. Easy access. Maryland Avenue Island, because it's surrounded by water. Yeah, that's right. Surrounded by water. There was water on the side of the monument. There was no walkway. None of that. There was water leading up to the bottom of the Capitol. Water. Yeah. So sections were really sectioned off like islands, because there are islands in D.C. that a lot of people don't really talk about. But let's get back to Mary. Murray's proximity to the Capitol. That's what I want to talk about. Like, if you ever had a sneaky link and her house was like right down the street from your baby mama house, Big Daddy is on the hill. That's the Capitol, right? Big Daddy's on the hill. You could take a snow sled and just scoot your boots down to the bottom of the hill. That's how close in proximity this house was. Like, for real. That close. It says the proximity to the Capitol and her house and its upscale clientele led to its being considered the congressman's whorehouse. Ooh, okay. They was calling this joint the congressman's whorehouse. Lobbyists may have used this establishment to entertain lawmakers, as illustrated in this picture from James William Buell's 1883 book, Mysteries and Miseries of America's Great Cities. Yes, I'm going to let you see this real quick. Some of the inmates at Mary Hall's during the Civil War were Southern sympathizers. The evening star on March 16, 1863, contained this report of 3 fallen angels, ciphering of fraternities, Annie Smith, Alice Martin, and Cora Wilbraham. 3 fallen angels sojourning at Murray Hall's Hades yesterday secured a barouche and driver for the purpose of taking an airing. And in order to keep their spirits up, they stopped at sundry restaurants and put the spirits down to such an extent that they have imagined themselves in Dixie and commenced shouting for Jeff Davis and singing the Bonnie Blue Flag. At the corner of 7th Street and Avenue, a mounted provost guard ordered a halt and attempts to arrest the trio, when one of them jumped out of the hack but was persuaded to get back, and the party were then escorted to the provost marshal's office, where Annie Smith and Alice Martin again allowed their Sakesh proclivities to stick out. Their titties was hanging out, y'all. So, okay, I'm going to continue reading, then I'm going to break this down for y'all. And continue to hooray for Jeff and rebellion. Cora Wilbraham, however, being somewhat sober, was more quiet and endeavored to dissuade her companions from being so disorderly. The whole party was sent to the Central Guardhouse and were subsequently released upon the payment of a fine. All right, so this what happened, y'all. These 3 hoes, motherfucking Annie, Alice, and Cora, went to the bar and shit, got fucked up. They in there being all loud and ratchet and shit. They forgot that they was at the top of the South, because they saying it like, they wasn't in the South because D.C. still in the South. But yeah, they was at the top of the South in the nation's cap, and they forgot where the fuck they was singing their songs and shit. They was making motherfuckers mad. So now they in the motherfucking hack, which is the horse-drawn joint, and they getting carted down the street. They singing they loud as shit like in the car. Fuck you, nigga. Hey, your hood, nigga. They loud as shit. You know what I'm saying? So when the motherfucking guard get up to their ass, he like, what the fuck is going on? One bitch like, oh, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So she hop out the motherfucking whip, and they get her ass back up in the joint. Now they done hold their ass off down to the motherfucking guardhouse, and these bitches in there showing their titties and shit. They dead ass showing their titties and shit. One of the bitches, she done sobered up. So now she like, come on, y'all, don't do that. We gotta get out of here. You doing too much. And they like, fuck you, bitch. Show me your titties. They just lunching and shit. So they all get fucking fined, and they can't get out until they pay their motherfucking fine. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. Motherfucking Cora and shit was the first one to sober up. That's why she was the one talking about, man, chill out, y'all. We being disorderly. And then I want to know who paid for all them to get out. This is the view down Lost Alley right here toward the Capitol. This picture was published in 1909 by Weller and Weller. Now, that's the back of the house, y'all. And you can see from the alley that the Capitol is right the fuck there. Like, you can't miss this shit. It's that fucking close. Blocks away. And they call this neighborhood Lewis Alley, with the Capitol Dome in contrast 3 blocks away. Crowded lodgings of Italian laborers adjoining colored body houses. Oh, so this alludes to my question again. Was Murray Hall an alleged colored woman? Why would she have a body house by the damn colored people? Do you see what I'm saying? And I know that, they all lived in the same neighborhoods. But this tells me, and the fact that she had the first integrated business, why would they say that if she wasn't a woman of darker hue? And it's funny because this is K Street by the Capitol, and my family also lived in K Street on Capitol Hill. And I'm telling you, man, there is something there. There is something there. The first substantial dwelling in Reservation C was a large 3-story brick dwelling erected in Lot 12 by Murray Ann Hall. She had this motherfucker built from the ground. Do you hear what I'm saying? Erected. Yes, that's a funny word that they use for a hooker with a heart of gold who had 19 hoes. She had her house erected. This is according to the census records. Hall was a single woman who was in her early 20s at the time she built this large dwelling. The 1840 census indicated that she lived in the house with 4 other women who were also in their 20s. A free black woman in her late 20s or early 30s, a black male between the ages of 10 and 24 who was a slave, although it's not stated in the census. See, that's that bullshit right there. This is exactly what the hell I'm talking about. Who said he was her slave? They are assuming that he was her slave, which tells me that the person who wrote this didn't do enough research to find out exactly what his name was and who he was in relation to her. Because you got a free black woman and a black male slave? Nah. I'm not saying that. Yeah, like I said, it was never stated in the census. Later documentation verifies that Murray Hall was a prostitute and her large house was a brothel. This striking building of Casota Dolomitic limestone was designed by Douglas Cardinal, a Blackfoot Indian from Ottawa. So we gonna act like they ain't just use blacks and Indians in the same paragraph and try to make them all different people. Yeah, moving on. Murray Hall's mother, Elizabeth, who died in 1864, and her sister, Catherine, who died in 1867, were buried in the family plot Congressional Cemetery, surmounted by a triumphant angel. Murray Hall's monument is surmounted by a more enigmatic figure, perhaps reflecting Murray's more anomalous moral position. Yeah, okay. Hall's brothel was ranked by the city's provost marshal as one of the best and biggest, with the peak of 18 inmates. All who were rich and important went to Murray and Hall House, said Robert S. Fole, author of the 2012 book Wicked Capitol Hill. An 1864 article in the Washington Evening Star referred to Hall's business as the old and well-established house on Maryland Avenue. The brothel in question has had its, no exaggeration to say, a national reputation for the last quarter century, according to the paper. Seifert said in an inventory of Hall's home shortly after her death cataloged its opulence. Hall had plush red furniture, carpets from Belgium, oil paintings, feathered pillows, marble-top tables, and an icebox. Judging by the quality of the decor, Hall must have had high-profile clowns, she said. Moreover, Seifert said, unlike other brothels, Hall's establishment rarely came under scrutiny. That's because she was keeping all that shit on the low. You ain't have to worry about her or her girls. She was in charge of the girls, and the girls knew what time it was. She ran a kind of house that didn't cause trouble, Seifert said. It was a place of serious discretion. She ran a pretty straight business. Her net worth was about $90,000, equivalent to $2 million in today's economy. Her home was later served as a YMCA before it was demolished during the 1930s. The government eventually bought the property as part of the expansion on the mall. Hall's legacy lives on at Congressional Cemetery on Capitol Hill, where her remains are buried. Her plot is one of the cemetery's largest, according to the cemetery archivist and Dawson Dale Dooley. Hall rests in the northwest section of the cemetery next to her mother and sister. Their plots is yards from the grave of FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. Hall's headstone is a large pale monument with a somber female figure sitting on top. Her Evening Star obituary gave no hint of Hall's profession, but its eloquence reflected the influence she had in Washington's public and private circles. Well, they gave Mary Ann Hall a lot of accolades to be the motherfucking madam on the mall and shit. I guess that means she did her job well. She serviced these men that came through from all motherfucking walks of life. And she was making it happen, Captain. As one of the first landowners, business owners, and integrated owners. She did the damn thing. Yeah, but I bet y'all ain't know about no motherfucking body houses in the city and shit. Yeah. And I'm trying to tell you, if the streets could talk, it was a hot time in the city in the red light district of Washington, D.C. Wasn't even Washington, D.C. at the time. And right through those trees in this blue day right here, you got the Capitol. That's how close I'm talking about. I just wanted y'all to know. This is how close they were to the hole. No disrespect. But this is how close they were to that action. And they used to put women up there, their ladies in waiting in the motherfucking private rooms, right up in the Capitol, right up in the goddamn Capitol, where they was making all the decisions. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy as shit that we got all this going on. It probably take 3 minutes to walk down here for real. 3 minutes to walk down from the Capitol to Murray Hall's house. Like, they ain't even have phones at the time. But for real, you can hear shit. It's just like going, ah! And you hear that? You hear how loud that sound is shit? From the Capitol. Ah! Come on down. They did have forceful encouragement. They had riders, I think that's what they call them and shit, like taxi cabs and shit. Hacks. They had hacks. It's funny because we still use that word today, hacks, as transportation licenses. It's a 31C. Driving an ambulance. But back to this shit. Yeah, can you imagine the parties they used to have down this motherfucker? You got the monument right there to the left, to the right, and the White House a couple of blocks more down past that. And the fucking Capitol right here, making all your goddamn decisions on what's up and what's not. You know what I'm saying? And bitches played a part in all this. Bitches of all kinds. And they pillow talk. I'm sure the pillow talk was incredible. That's why they call Mary the Madam on the Mall. After all, we are on the mall, right? She was here before the mall was built. And she was getting her shit. Making all that fucking money. Selling ass. Selling ass to the top tier motherfuckers in the country. That's some good shit right there. I ain't no hoe. Could be a great madam if that was my profession. But I hear them animals out here. Y'all got it, we leaving. Well, I ain't gonna fuck with your habitat. I don't know what you is, but you got it. Yep. So, this concludes that night action in the red light district. It's quiet as a motherfucker now, 2024, ain't 1884. That's for sure. But I can imagine they was getting fucked up. They said they found so many motherfucking bottles, broken champagne bottles down here, and women's lingerie, pieces of shit that you know you ain't supposed to have. You know, unless you're doing some crazy shit. You know, that XX shit. Yeah, they found all that shit down here. They tried to clean it up and make it sound all nice. But the Gutta Godmother will tell you the truth. They was holding like shit right on this spot that we call the Native American Museum. Not American Indian. Native American Museum. Okay? Yeah. So they turned the whole house into a how house. For all. How? They'll catch that later. For that note, I'm out this bitch. I wish I had some old hoes that could really tell this story for y'all. But they all dead and gone now. You know. In memoriam of our sister Mary, died January 29th, 1886. Truth was her motto, her creed, charity for all. Dawn is coming. Yeah. Yes, Cooch was for sale, and Hooch was too. And they was making that money, boo. All pre, during, and post-Civil War. So, if you didn't know, the oldest profession in the city was Coochie. You know, Punani, all that great stuff. They try to act like, you know, all these young girls out here today, or this was something that happened in the 70s on up. No, try the 1870s. And I believe they said that her body house ran for almost 30 years. She bought her property when she was in her 30s. Her first business was bought. Yeah. But salute to you, lady. You might be my aunt or cousin or somebody. Because I'm a whole descendant. I see you watching me and I'm watching you too. Body, yaddy, 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 yaddy.